Hi everyone. So it's been like a hot minute since I've uploaded a video. Like 3 months, actually. Everything's fine. I mean, as fine as it ever is. Nothing more bad or new bad is happening. But I thought we should sit down and talk a little about what the heck is going on that took me on a 3-month, not planned hiatus. Because what? So, first of all, I'm fine, the kitties are fine, we're all fine here. We don't need stormtroopers on the detention level.
We're fine, we're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
And I am working on several video projects. Glacially, apparently, but they're happening. But also, how are you? How was your summer? How are things? I feel like I left this community in another age, like I just dropped off the planet and am now, eons later, returning to find nothing as it was before. Like Rip Van Winkle or something. But hopefully with a lot less aging. Okay, so I hope you are well, and I'm sorry for leaving everyone hanging. Not that anyone is sitting out there by their computer just waiting for me to upload, and I wouldn't want to be fostering that kind of social media codependence. What I'm saying is, for me, it's stepping away from that connection that feels weird and maybe a little shitty because I value this community and I don't want to step away. It's the work and the mental effort that goes into video creation that has gone off the rails for me. And for most of the summer, I had no idea why video production slowed down so drastically, but I think I do now. And I think things are getting back on track. Clearly, 'cause here I am. So the first part of this quagmire of non-productivity is an obvious one. This spring, I started a business. Like, you know, to keep the lights on, food on the table, cat food in the cat dishes. Survival stuff. I bet many of you can relate. The economic factors out there are brutal. So a lot of my time and mental energy has gone into establishing myself as a conduit for the flow of income. And it's going very slowly, but it's going and it's happening. And I'm sure I'll share more about it when it's enough of a going concern that we're past that proverbial first trimester or gestation period or whatever. Human reproduction metaphors creep me out a little, actually. Yeah, so a lot of time and energy has been funneled into that, but it's not taking all of my time or all of my mental bandwidth. And for most of summer, I wasn't aware of where that other Hey everybody, Editing Cypress here. By any chance, do you see that vehicle behind me coming down the road? Yeah, that one. So this is where I discovered that I really fucked up. Hello!
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. So you're technically off trail, and this is
Oh! Yep. Turns out the mowed areas by the roads still count as part of the preserve, and I'm violating the stay on the trails policy. This is so embarrassing. And this forest ranger off screen is letting me know that the mowed grass is off limits. Honestly, he was far nicer than he had any reason to be about it. The man even let me finish filming, when by rights he should have run me off with bear spray. So I owe this man a debt now. And Mr. Ranger Man, if by any chance you find this video, hey dude, thank you. You really did me a solid. I think I owe you one. Like, a bit more than a drink, but a bit less than helping you bury a body. So, for reals, I appreciate you being so understanding. And now I'm sure all my viewers appreciate you too. So, yeah. Now back to the video. Yeah, so a lot of time and energy has been funneled into that, but it's not taking all of my time or all of my mental bandwidth. And for most of the summer, I wasn't aware of where that other bandwidth was siphoning off to. It's been a weird summer. Anybody else? Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. In fact, I'm feeling really good about the wake this summer has left behind. But early in the summer, I found myself in bed a lot with no energy, both physically and mentally, just zero fuel. So I'm thinking, shit, I've got a chronic illness, like for real. Because I thought I was moving past this slog. I thought I had left this phase of my recovery behind me, and I was getting more reliable use out of my body and my brain now. But my productive days were just getting further and further apart. But there was a difference. This exhaustion felt different. It felt earned. Like the soreness and tiredness after a killer workout or after an intense mental effort. It was not, as I experienced before, the soul-sucking toxic sludge of emotional detritus I was drowning in. It felt so much like expended effort that I would often try to think back to the day or two before and pinpoint how I might have exerted myself, but I would always come up blank. So, to skip ahead through the doldrum days of my summer, it finally dawned on me that this exhaustion, this physical and mental fog that I was feeling, was very much the feeling of being worn out after a particularly heavy channel of spirit energy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, as amazing as accessing divine energy is, it wears you out. There's a recovery time. This is part of why it's so ill-advised to have a sudden, unfiltered access to Kundalini before one has worked up a tolerance. I realized that for most of this summer, I was undergoing some kind of transformation, recalibration. It was all happening on a level that my egoic consciousness was not really aware of, but I think I was undergoing regular, I'm not sure, attunements. My intuition or imagination, it tells me that my guides were coordinating house calls from beings who were working on me, on realigning or reprogramming things inside of me. So the question then becomes, what? And why? I'm still not sure, and I'm gonna just have to roll with it. But I can handle this in broad strokes. I've been doing a lot of work, like a shit ton of shadow work and intentional healing and reprogramming. I've been working my ass off to get my psyche and my soul right. A lot of the content on this channel has come out of that work, as I'm sure many of you are aware, and it has been epically frustrating because I've been buried in this work for so long that I had started to actually believe there would be no end to it. Not in this lifetime. But I also kept reminding myself I genuinely had a lot to sort out. I've been in a traumatized state from almost my first day here in this realm, and that's really hard to break out from, because no matter how hard you work to heal old wounds, new ones have formed before you're out the other side, because the old wounds leave you vulnerable, and so you've got to deal with those new ones, and it all just becomes this hamster wheel of self-work that is never really enough if you don't have help, which I haven't had, and you just keep getting further and further behind, and the wounds inside you never really heal because all the new trauma piling on confirms and reifies all the old trauma, and before you know it, your soul is so carved out and wrecked that it puts the Grand Canyon to shame. I am pretty certain that not one person in my life knows what my real personality actually is, because no one has ever seen me at my normal, my real normal. And to some degree, that's just part of the mortal experience. Each incarnation is its own little individual person. But the less that incarnated person feels like the real us, the harder it is to reconcile being in this existence. So what I have come to feel, or to imagine, through the journey of this summer, is that I may be coming out the other side of all the shadow work. What I'm experiencing may be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for the first time in my life. And who knew it didn't have to be that light at the end of that tunnel? There's a perspective shift that I've experienced, which I'll delve into in an upcoming video, but basically, I'm feeling like all of my life up to the start of this summer was one thing. One chapter, one epoch, one existence. And as we move past this summer, it's the beginning of a new chapter, or epoch, or new existence. It's a very deep line in the sand for me. It feels like so much of my life up to now has literally been severed from me, but like in the best possible way. Like I was struggling so hard for so long, and the universe just let me sit down, take a breath, and get a bath, and let me put on fresh, clean clothes, and just start fresh with new rules. And that's the crazy thing. There are new rules for how this all works. I don't want to go too deep here because I'll save it for that upcoming project, but all that spiritual self-help jargon that we've been fed and that makes sense, but somehow is so difficult to enact, like the law of attraction. Like you genuinely do all the things right and it's still not working, and everybody and their mothers shrug and tell you you're just doing it wrong. That bullshit, that's shifting. I'm becoming more and more convinced that a sort of spiritual or psychic dampening field is being lifted off of this earth. And it's been happening in stages for several years now. The rules of riding the flow are working now, or at least they're working better now. And I don't think this is just me getting through my shit. I think this is happening globally for anyone and everyone to benefit from. And I think part of the timing of this shift I'm going through is simply because it's in alignment with that global energetic shift. Like my guides have worked the timing of this out so that my transformation is happening in some kind of sync with the new energetic rules for a new Earth experience. So I'm going through my own crazy transformation at the very moment in Earth's own evolution where moving forward on my spiritual path becomes actually physically or metaphysically possible. Yeah, so that was my summer. However much of all that ramble actually made sense or not, I'm shifting a lot. And the process of that shifting is what has taken all of my mental bandwidth from being able to work effectively at video production. My physical bandwidth too. So I'm in a weird place right now. Good weird, but this is uncharted territory for me. I'm facing a world I had given up on ever seeing. I'm starting to see the world I expected when I arrived here. A way of engaging with the world that I slowly had to give up on as I grew from infancy to late childhood. I realize this is a lot. I'll concede that it's possible I've just gone off the deep end, but maybe the deep end is exactly the right place for me to be right now. And I'm really okay with it. Okay, good chat. But let's get real 3D for a second. I'm not certain how my content is going to change moving forward. I'm not willfully scheming any changes, but I've been so reset, rebooted, that I can't imagine it won't affect my content in some way. I guess we'll discover that together as it happens. And so, I ask again, how was your summer? I'd love to hear about it. The mediocre, the mundane, the transformative, and anything in between. Let's catch up. And let's see how this new reality that is here and that is still coming in will play out. It feels like the start of an epic adventure, and I am so freaking here for it. Bring it on. Let's step happily into this new unknown. Folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cypress, and welcome back to the wild. Let's see how this all unfurls. Love and light, and keep it wild.